Welcome in. It is Brad with College SportsCast. John and I are here to do 12 with a bonus game for week 4 of college football using DraftKings spreads. And we are doing Game Day Pick'em. Welcome in, guys. We're here to do Game Day Pick'em, week 4 of college football, John. We are headed towards a month of college football already.
Yeah, it's went by pretty quick.
It's insane to think about that we are a week in or a month in already. If you are with us on Facebook, we want to say we really, really do appreciate you. We are growing. We are way over 5,600, trying to get to 6,000 on our Facebook page. We appreciate you. You can help support us by sending stars or by subscribing for just 99 cents a month. You do get your own page and your own chat if you subscribe, and we appreciate any and all help that we can get to keep doing these for you guys and having a little fun with making shows and content for you guys. If you're on Facebook, like and follow, share, subscribe for 99 cents. If you're on YouTube, you can like and subscribe, share, comment. We appreciate you as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We are, like I said, John, we are already at week 4 of college football. That's insane. So, Kentucky, Georgia has bye weeks this week. So, SEC schools, I believe this is their first week for some bye weeks. I think. Did any SEC school have a bye week last week? I don't think they did.
I don't think so.
I believe this is the first week for some bye weeks for SEC schools.
But then again, it's hard to keep up with everything.
It is. There was definitely some bye weeks because Western Kentucky had a bye week last week.
They
in
did.
week 3. In week 3.
They did.
Of course, they did play week 0 as well. So Western did. All right, John, we are going to start out. We've got 12, possibly a bonus game at the end here. We might throw in 6 or 13 here for you guys. But we got at least 12 here, John. We're going to start out with a big noon kickoff. And I was shocked to find out a game in Utah was on the big noon kickoff, to be quite honest with you. The Utes are a 3.5-point favorite at home over this Texas Tech team who has been kind of impressive so far.
Yeah, this is one of those games where it could be a toss-up. It's the big, like you said, it's the big noon kickoff. They did not meet last year. Utah won on the road last week against Wyoming. Texas Tech beat Oregon State last week. This is going to be a big test for the Utes. I think Utah is a little battle tested. They beat UCLA. They play Wyoming. Texas Tech can't really play nobody yet. Utah relies a lot on Ryan Davis at wide receiver. He has the quarterback that came from New Mexico, Dampier. This is a really, really good Utah team. This is not on the East Coast. Utah is in the Mountain Time Zone. So this is going to be a 10 a.m. kick, Brad.
Yep.
And, how do kids respond at, that time of the day? I think there's going to be a little struggle to adapt to the early start.
Imagine Texas Tech having to fly out, to a game in Utah and you got to get up and play at 10 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, you're basically waking up and there you go, you're playing.
Yeah,
Um,
you
I
better
think
you better eat your Wheaties.
I think I'm going to take Utah here. I like Utah at home. I think they're really good at home. Texas Tech has been really good, but this should be a really fantastic football game.
It really should be a good game here, man. Texas Tech has been impressive this year. Um, they're a team that I kind of picked as a surprise team in the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
And, but man, Utah has been playing so well. And to be quite honest with you, here's my thing: Texas Tech has been putting a lot of points on the board. And
They have.
Utah probably has the best defense in the Big 12,
Yeah, they do.
more than likely.
Um,
So this is a test of a really great offense versus a really great defense
yeah, Morton,
at home.
Morton for Texas Tech has been really good. He had I think 3,000 yards passing last year. He's passed for 923 yards, I think, this year. They got a really good backfield with Adam Hill. Um, Coy Eakin has been their big target in the passing game. So this should be a really fun game out in Utah tomorrow.
So it's a 3.5 point favorite here for Utah. What do you think on points?
Mm, I might take Texas Tech to cover.
So you think Utah wins, but Texas Tech might cover 3.5?
Yeah, I think they might cover that. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think everybody who has been following our show kind of knows that the last few years I've kind of pulled for Utah a little bit. I like their quarterback. He's no longer there now. Dampier's there, uh, but Kyle Whittingham, man, he's just great at defense
Yes.
and puts together a really good team out there for the Utes. And it's a tough place to play. I think I'm gonna take Utah here and lay the 3.5 points. I think that's where I'm going to go with this one to start
You,
off.
you could really probably go either way, honestly.
To start off, big noon kickoff on Saturday, and I kind of like the big noon kickoff. To be honest with
I
you,
do.
start with a big
I do.
game. Yeah, I kind of like it. All right, John, we're going to get to this. Is one of the last weeks for a little while until about the 10th or 11th game of 10th or 11th week of the year that you're going to see out of conference with SEC schools. So after this week, it's going to be mostly conference games for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple of them, few of them here that I think is intriguing. The first one here, John, is Arkansas is at Memphis. Memphis is still undefeated, still has a shot out of the AAC to make some noise here. They beat a pretty decent Troy team that held their own against Clemson, 28-7 last week. But the Razorbacks, John, are a 7.5 point favorite at Memphis.
That's high. That's a little high for me. Arkansas had so many chances to beat Ole Miss last week. They had the fumble. There was just maybe some penalties that happened. They just could not get on track towards the end of the game. I'm going to tell you something. Arkansas is going to have their hands full against Memphis. Um, you know, if they win this game, they got an opportunity to, represent the American Conference in the college football playoffs. But I want to be honest with you, Brad. I like the odds here of Sam Pittman winning one on the road. I like this Memphis team, but I also think this Arkansas team is really, really good too. Both of these teams are going to have its hands full on both sides. Arkansas's defense is not great. Now they can score with anybody. They got probably one of the best quarterbacks in Taylor Green. He can do it all. He can run. He can throw. Their defense is just where they lack. I could see this game going anywhere from 34 to 28 to 42 to 40. I think this game's going to be a shootout, to be honest. But with that said, I think I'm going to take Memphis to cover. But I think Arkansas steals one on the road this weekend.
Yeah, John. Taylor Green, everybody's been talking about Lenore Sellers. Everybody's been talking about DJ Lagway. There's been a lot of talk early in the preseason and the first 3 weeks of this season. There's really not been a ton of talk about Taylor Green. And you look at numbers, and he's one of the top quarterbacks in the SEC.
It's hard to believe, honestly.
If you just look at numbers. I mean, now, they did get beat last week in Oxford and had a chance, but they got beat 41-35. High scoring, kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah, they had a chance at the end and they fumbled, and they really could not stop Ole Miss from running the clock out. Really, so
and Memphis, on the other hand, last week played at Troy last week and pretty much handled that game. Won 28-7, I believe, was the final score. We're talking about a Troy team that had Clemson in Clemson on the rope, 16-0 in the start of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, let's be fair, though. Clemson is not Clemson right now. They're playing pretty poorly. It's still a big deal going into Clemson and having a lead like that. So
it is. So I'm with you here. I think this spread is too high. I'm really kind of surprised that this isn't a pick'em game or, a 1.5 point spread, somewhere in that nature. Either way, to be honest, I'm not against Arkansas being favored by 1.5 or 2. 7.5 seems really high to me. I'm going to take
it is for me.
Tigers. I'm going to take the Memphis Tigers to cover that spread at home. Looks like John's having a little bit of issues there. While he's getting back on with me, he'll probably come back on there. I'll move on and go to SMU at Texas Christian. TCU. TCU has played pretty well, to be honest with you. They might be one team that had a bye last week as well. I don't remember seeing TCU playing last week. This might be a team. This might be a team that has a bye with TCU. TCU 6.5 point favorite over the Mustangs, John.
Man, it's been a really shaky season so far for SMU. They made the college football playoff last year. They squandered a huge lead against Baylor 2 weeks ago. And they didn't look great against Missouri State. Now they travel to Waco to play TCU. Horned Frogs, they beat North Carolina, beat Abilene Christian last week. I think Josh Hoover has looked probably like one of the nation's top, quarterbacks. Points on the board is going to happen very often in this game. It's a rivalry game. I like SMU's defense in this game more than the Horned Frogs when it comes down to it. But in this game, somebody's going to have to probably make a stop to win this game. And I like SMU to do that. I don't think TCU has the defense that SMU has. Now, offensively, I think they do, but I don't think they have the defense to make a play. I think SMU – and they retained quite a bit on the defensive side of the ball from last year from that college football team or college playoff team.
Yeah, this one's kind of tough because I do kind of pull for SMU. But I'm going to be honest with you. I've been impressed outside of, they had a tough year last year, but Sonny Dykes has done a fantastic job at TCU. It's not even close. I do not think he gets nearly enough credit for what he has done. I don't think you hear his name enough for potential jobs and everything. Now, SMU's coach, Rhett's done a great job as
Yeah.
well. I mean, both of these got really good coaches, to be honest with you, offensive minds.
Yeah.
You're probably going to see a whole lot of points here on the board. I do
Yeah.
agree with you.
If you love offense, you're gonna like this game.
I do agree with you. SMU's probably got a little bit better defense, and maybe that's what carries them through here. So I'll take the Mustangs and the 6.5 points in this one as well. All right, John. I think this is probably the biggest game in the SEC this week. I really do. As far as a conference on conference game, SEC versus SEC. This is a big one. I mean, Auburn's got Jackson Arnold. He is going back to Oklahoma. Oklahoma has looked really good with John Mateer as the quarterback now. The Sooners are a 7.5 point favorite at home in this one, John.
I want to be honest here. Jackson Arnold has improved, but John Mateer might be the best quarterback in the country. And Auburn's pass defense has been really suspect lately. Now they're pretty good against the run, but and especially on offense, they've been one-dimensional at times. Last week they gave up quite a bit of yardage to South Alabama. They didn't look good defensively. Oklahoma, to me, has been more balanced offensively. I think Oklahoma wins this game, Brad. I just can't trust Auburn yet until they can win one of those big ones under Hugh Freeze.
This one would definitely qualify, I think, as a pretty big one for
It
them.
will. It would.
I mean, it's not Georgia, it's not Alabama, but this is a good Oklahoma team that is kind of looks like is turning the corner here.
Yeah, they have. He's making good decisions. He's running with the ball. He's throwing the ball everywhere, all over the field. Now, to be fair, Arnold did beat Baylor in week 1, and now he gets a big opportunity to beat Oklahoma as probably one of the top exciting teams that we've watched the last couple of weeks. This is going to be a hard-fought game. This is going to be a dirty game. Defense, offense, it's going to be nails to the wall. Now, I will say Auburn has a lot of great players on the offensive side of the ball, impact players, Cam Coleman, Jeremiah Cobb at running back. They got a really good offense, but how do they stack up against Oklahoma and their improved defense? And I'd like to see what Arnold does with some pressure on him.
Well, this is a game that is very, very intriguing. I mean, Hugh Freeze, to be honest with you, he struggled a little bit at Auburn, a lot more than I thought most thought he would. Brent Venables has struggled some at Oklahoma, a lot more than what many people thought he would. Now, like I said, it looks like the Oklahoma's turning the corner here with John Mateer, and Venables has made some good decisions, taking defensive calls back and things on his own. And then Auburn, I mean, they at least look like the offense is coming around. I don't know about the defense, but they at least look like the offense is coming around and looks a little bit more like what Hugh Freeze offense you would think would look like, to be quite honest with you. Here's my deal. I think I'm going to trust John Mateer more than I trust Jackson Arnold. What do you think, John?
Yeah, that's where I'm going with this.
I think I'm going to trust John Mateer more than I trust Jackson Arnold. The 7.5 points is a little bit scary, but I just have a feeling that Oklahoma is going to cover this. It won't be by a lot. We're not talking a landslide, Look for a 10 to 14 point win here for the Sooners. That's what
Yeah,
I'm calling.
that's where I'm at.
All right, John. This is another AAC versus SEC game here this week. We already talked about Arkansas at Memphis. Now Tulane is at Ole Miss in Oxford. And surprisingly, John, I heard the news today that most likely Austin Simmons will not be playing in this game for the Rebels, and the Rebels are still an 11.5 point favorite over the Green Wave.
Is it bad of me to say that I think Ole Miss is better when Chambliss is in the game?
I mean, that might be the
I just
case.
feel like he's a better quarterback. I think he's a better runner. I think he's a better thrower. But then again, Austin Simmons, he's had his opportunities. So, and apparently he's going to play this weekend. So, and then you look at the other side, Jake Retzlaff, he's really, really good.
Tulane has looked really good. They beat Duke last week at home. Duke, I mean, a Power Four conference.
Yeah,
They beat Duke on the road. I mean, at Tulane last week. So I mean, that's a good win for them.
I just think Trinidad Chambliss being in there is a win-win for me. I think he makes a difference in this game. But I will say that this Tulane team is no slouch. So if Ole Miss has another Arkansas type game, you might not want to do it with this Tulane bunch because they'll beat you.
I'm going to be honest with you, John. Kentucky played Ole Miss 2 weeks ago. I wasn't all that impressed. Austin Simmons was in, so it doesn't look like he's going to play, or at least that's what I have heard this evening, is that he may not play in this game. It said may not. It wasn't anything confirmed, to be honest. But it looks like that he may not play in this game at all. And John saying, that their backup Chambliss is, maybe better. But man, this Tulane Green Wave team, they have a lot of heart. They fight. They score. They've got a really good quarterback from BYU.
Well, look at last week. Taylor Green, he torched Ole Miss's defense.
Yeah.
And Retzlaff is probably just as good as Taylor Green is when it comes to playing quarterback. So maybe a little slower than Taylor Green, but he can still get the ball out and get it over and hit some verticals. So Ole Miss is going to have their hands full tomorrow.
That's what I say here, man. 11.5 seems really high to me in this one. I think Tulane can keep this to a 10-point game or less. I really do. I feel pretty strong about that. This is one that I would almost guarantee, it seems like. And as soon as I say that, it won't happen. But the 11.5 seems way too big for me. I'm going Tulane to cover the 11.5. If you're giving me Tulane and 11.5 points, I'm taking it. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I think you have to take it.
All right, man. We are going to move on to the Big Ten. And I don't know how, but somehow Michigan is favored at Nebraska here. I mean, Michigan has played decent, but Nebraska has put up they're one of the top 3 offenses in the country 3 weeks in.
Well,
and they are lighting up the scoreboard, putting a ton of points on the board, scoring touchdown after touchdown. And Michigan's defense has not looked as strong as it normally is.
no, and they got Bryce Underwood, the number one quarterback in the 25 class.
And Dylan
And
Raiola was the number one quarterback the year before.
He was the number 2 signal caller, in the 24 class. Both were having great starts to the year. Matt Rule's done really good with this group. This feels like a prove-it game for both teams, in my opinion. Nebraska has Nebraska for their 6-7 years have just wanted a game where they said, you know what, Nebraska's back. Well, right here's the opportunity right on national television to prove it to the world. Can you make a play? Can you go out there and win a big game against Michigan? Because if you win this game, you're probably looking at a ranked Nebraska team for the first time in a while. Because Michigan is, they're 21st, and Nebraska's beat Cincinnati. I think they beat Akron and beat another team. I can't remember, but they're probably going to be 4-0, and a 4-0 ranked Nebraska team. That's all the fans have wanted in Nebraska for a while. So, big opportunity this weekend. I'm going to pick Nebraska in this game, but I'm going to take Michigan to cover the points. I think this game comes down to a field goal.
Being in Lincoln and having the opportunity that they have been just dying for the last 5, 6, 7 years, I can't see with the team that they have that this Nebraska team is going to let this one slip away. Maybe they do. Maybe they find a way. But offensive, Dane Key, their receivers have been playing really well. Raiola's been playing really well. This is in Lincoln. It's going to be loud. It's going to be rowdy. It's going to be sold out because it always is. And I think this should be a tough place to go into and get a win on Saturday. So give me Nebraska here. I think it's finally time that we see a Nebraska team win a big game at home. And we haven't seen that for a while.
It's been past time, really.
Yep. All right, John, we got the Scott Frost Bowl. I'm sorry. We got North Carolina and Bill Belichick, who, by the way, drafted Scott Frost in the NFL with the Browns, I believe. And Central Florida, UCF, is a 7-point favorite, John. And ironically, doesn't Scott Frost with UCF have like a 14 or 15 win streak just with UCF? He went like 12-0 and then it's 1-3. I think it's 15 games in a row as the head coach of Central Florida.
I think so.
Something like that. I'm pretty sure.
Something to that regulation. But I don't really know what to make of this game. I don't really know what to make of UCF. I don't know, North Carolina lost to TCU. Now they did come back and they beat Charlotte. They look really good at times. But I'm going to go with probably UCF here. The Bounce House is a tough place to play in Florida, Orlando. So I think I'm going to go UCF here. I don't like Belichick on the road here.
So is Johnson still starting for them, or is he back?
I think Max Johnson's starting for them, yeah.
Well, he had been hurt last year. There was some talk whether or not he would be fully healthy. Look, I like Max Johnson here, or at UNC. I just I'm not 100% sold on what's going on, and that this UNC Tar Heel team is ready for this. To be honest with you, and I don't just mean this game, I mean this season. They seem like they're a little bit far away from where they should be. It looks like it's going to take Belichick a year or two to really kind of have his stamp on this team and have his players. This is Scott Frost's first year back with UCF as well. These are two new, I mean, first year head coaches back with teams.
And to be fair, UCF hasn't looked great either, but I trust them at home against the North Carolina team that's been kind of up and down a little bit.
Yeah. The only thing that scares me is the 7 points. I wished it was like 3.5, to be honest. I guess I'll take UCF here. This is not one that I would bet, to be honest. I don't really like this game, to be honest.
I don't either.
All right. This is another big SEC game, SEC versus SEC here. We got South Carolina at Missouri. Missouri is a 10-point favorite at home here. Does that surprise you on DraftKings?
Not really. South Carolina.
Last week, John, South Carolina was ranked 10th in the country.
It didn't look great, Brad.
1 week ago today, they were ranked 10th in the country. Just saying, just throwing it out there. And now they're a 10-point dog to Missouri, who preseason wasn't even in the top 25.
No, I mean, you got to remember too, Lenore Sellers got injured. They brought in Doty, which was
he's questionable, but I have heard rumors that he's likely to play.
Yeah, he's likely going to play this week. So he gives them, I think, a better chance to win this game. Their defense did not look great last week. Vandy did whatever they wanted to do. Maybe I'm kind of taking back my pick of South Carolina in the college football playoff a little bit. I didn't see.
Me too.
Maybe they make a run. I just don't see this team being that great. And plus it's on the road at Mizzou, which Mizzou is really good at home most years. So I think I'm going to take Missouri here, but I will take the points here. So here's the thing. South Carolina has to find a way to control the game. It's not great in time of possession. Missouri has a lot of tempo. They're good on third downs. There's a lot missing from this South Carolina offense. The running game is not great. They're going to have to run the football a little bit to win this football game if they want a shot. I just don't see that happening.
So, listen, I'm just throwing it out. South Carolina was ranked 10th in the country a week ago today. A week ago in the morning, to be honest. Missouri was getting no love whatsoever before this season started. From nobody, to be honest. I had been saying all preseason here at College SportsCast that I liked Missouri's schedule. And if Missouri can get this game at home, I'm telling you, their schedule looks pretty good down the road for an SEC school. And 10 points is a little surprising here to me. Horn is out at Missouri. He was not they'd kind of been doing a two-headed monster here for the QB, but now Horn is out. So Pravilla.
The question goes from if South Carolina gets blown out in this game, do they fold up? You get dominated by Vanderbilt last week, and then say you go on the road and get whipped by Missouri.
Yeah, and it gets ugly here. I mean, yeah.
I mean,
Could it happen? Then Kentucky comes to town next week. I think that might fire them up at least first half. Because
feel their oats.
I mean, I would be surprised if they're not up at least the first half for Kentucky. They can't have a ton of turnovers here. Last week, South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, had 4 turnovers.
They did.
Against,
they played sloppy football.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they had 4 turnovers against Vandy last week. They cannot do that. What's up, Josh? I'm going to be honest with you. The 10 points scares me a little bit. But I'm with you here, man. South Carolina has not looked good. The one thing that I kept saying in the preseason is that I was scared of South Carolina having to replace so much on their defense side of the ball. And they were getting so much love. What's that?
Besides Dylan Stewart. Dylan Stewart came
back. Yeah. I'm not talking about Dylan Stewart. I mean, one guy can't cover 11 spots. I'm talking about they lost a ton to the NFL on the defensive side of the ball from last year's team. And if you don't believe me, go look it up. They had a lot of draft picks. They lost an absolute ton on the defensive side of the ball. And I've been saying all year preseason that worried me with this South Carolina team. Now, Sellers was supposed to be all world, and he's been good. He got knocked out with a concussion last week. He's likely to play here, but Probilla, or however you say his name, has looked pretty good at Missouri.
He has. So it feels like that, Missouri has not missed a beat, losing Luther Burden and, Lacey and the offense that they lost. It's like they just kind of plug guys in there and they just play.
I think South Carolina's going to get a very heavy dose of Hardy.
Yeah. Hardy might be one of the better backs in the country.
I think they're going to get a heavy dose of him as well. And of course, Probella's been playing well too for Missouri. I'm going to take the Tigers here and lay this 10 points, as hard as it is to say that. Like some of these point spreads on this week, I'm just like, man.
They're out there, let me tell you.
All right, John, let's get to another big game down in the land of the Gators here. The Gators coming off of back-to-back losses, USF and LSU last week. They are now on the road at Miami. The Hurricanes have looked good. Carson Beck has looked great in his first few games with the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes are a 7.5-point favorite at home, John.
There's another problem. Florida doesn't get in the backfield. They've only had, I think, 2 sacks all year. And as good as Carson Beck has played, that's a big problem if he has time in the pocket. He's hit 79% of his passes. They're going to throw the ball in Florida. You can bet your lucky dollar. Beck's a veteran. He's not going to take a lot of chances. He's going to do what he has to do to win the game. On the other side of it, Florida's defense is pretty good. The offense is not great. There's too many mistakes. DJ Lagway has not looked like DJ Lagway. I don't know what's going on with him. Had 5 interceptions last week at LSU. Florida is in desperate need of a win, and I just don't see it happening this weekend.
5, John. 5 in one game.
In one game, yeah.
5.
You know, you look at last year, Brad. You
There
know,
are some quarterbacks that have played really well in college football that don't have 5 picks an entire season.
well, and you look at it. You know, there was 5-5 last year, right? And then it went out and they beat LSU and Ole Miss. Can they do that again? I think this is where Miami is going to prove the world how good they truly are, and I think it starts with their defensive line. Their offensive line is a lot better as well, and they got probably one of the better quarterbacks in the country. And Beck is absolutely throwing dimes out there, and Florida has got to get it.
I think he might be the top quarterback. Like he might so far. Beck might be one of the Heisman front runners.
Well, and the thing too, Florida's going to have to get a pass rush on him because if he don't, these Miami receivers, they are loaded at receiver, and they're going to eat.
Have you seen some of the one-handed catches that these dudes are? I mean, it's unreal.
Now, so with that said, Florida's going to have to make some plays defensively, and they're going to have to move the football because if not, we could be witnessing another LSU part two.
Right now. If Lagway has 5 interceptions in this game, you might be looking at a score that's like 62-10.
Yeah. Miami's offense is a lot better than LSU's.
I'm telling you,
a lot better.
I don't know how. Like, all right, I made some comments about Brian Kelly's comments last week. Okay, they won that game 20-10. But they had 5 damn interceptions. Like, I'm telling you.
And there was a couple of drives where if Florida would have scored, they would have been right in the game.
I know. It's crazy, to be honest with you. So here's my deal, man. Billy Napier, I hate to say it, man, but I think your days are numbered down in Gainesville.
My question is, we kind of go back to the South Carolina thing, but say you're a Florida fan and you're watching this game and you get blowed out, say 35-7, 42-7. Does these players quit?
I mean, John, it don't even have to be that bad. It could be 35-20 or something. And I mean, the Gators don't get blown out like that. They're not like.
Well, and to be fair, this is a rivalry game. So rivalry games, like sometimes you can throw records out the window. But the way Florida has looked, I just don't have any confidence them going down there and winning. Not at all.
I'm taking the Hurricanes here. I'm taking Carson Beck. He's looked great. Like you said, he's throwing dimes. I think he is one of a Heisman front runner so far this year. I'm going to take the Hurricanes in this game and lay the 7.5.
Yeah, it's what I'm going to do.
All right. We have a few more here to go. This one, John, surprised me. The spread and the side of the spread of this one surprised me. NC State is playing at Duke. And somehow, I know this is at Duke, but how is Duke a 3-point favorite in this game?
I've asked the same question.
I don't get it.
Duke has not looked impressive at all.
They got beat by Tulane last week, albeit on the road, but they got beat at Tulane last week. They got beat the week before that by Illinois and looked terrible in the second half. Again, a bunch of turnovers.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you something. Hollywood Smothers is really, really good. He's the ACC's leading rusher. They got C.J. Bailey, and Duke does not have a great defense. Darian Mensah is going to have to stop the costly mistakes if they want to win this game. They have a lot of self-inflicted errors. And I will say they have in past they've dominated NC State and Durham. They beat them. But this Duke team, I just don't think is that great. Let's be honest. Now NC State, they've not played good at times defensively, but their offense right now might be one of the tops in the ACC. Like I
That's
said,
where I'm
CJ.
at. Listen, this NC State team is undefeated still, but they have struggled a little bit on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, and their offense is kind of making up for it. This will, if they win in Durham, it'll be their first win in Durham in 17 years. That's hard to believe.
That's shocking to me. I don't know, John.
I think I'm going to go NC State here. I don't trust Duke. I don't.
I'm thinking about the upset here, man. Like I really am. I think I know this is at Duke. This is in Durham. I get it.
The problem I have is the Duke offense has been, out of sorts. There's a lot of costly mistakes. The Tulane game, the Illinois game, the interceptions. Like Mensah has not looked great. Great passer, great player, but he's going to have to limit the mistakes if he wants to win a game like this.
I'm taking NC State. I really am. Even though you just told me they haven't won in Durham in 17 years, but
that's the notes I wrote down. Yeah,
that's crazy. All right, this is a big game in the Big Ten, John.
Basketball schools.
Yeah, Illinois is going to Bloomington not to bounce a ball, but to throw a ball. And somehow Indiana is 6.5 point favorite. I know they've been scoring a shit ton of points on the School of Blind. I get it. But they've played absolutely, they played your local high school, okay? Seriously. And Illinois has beat teams like Duke. I just don't get, I know this is in Bloomington.
Mm-hmm. And this is a primetime game.
It is.
On NBC. I like Luke Altmaier. I think he's doing really, really good in his efficiency. The defense is playing really well. They play clean football, Brad. They just do a good job.
They're one of a few teams, like a dozen or something, that has 0 turnovers so far this year.
Well, then you look at Indiana. They struggled a little bit with Old Dominion. They beat Kennesaw State, beat Indiana State. Now Illinois is probably going to be a bigger ladder for them to climb.
Old Dominion is the only school that's even worth mentioning out of that bunch.
I will say Indiana does lead the country in tackles for loss. I think they're averaging 11, 12 per game, I think.
That's pretty easy when you're playing high schoolers.
Well, yeah, I agree. But the thing is, Indiana has to get to Altmaier. If they don't get to Altmaier, they're probably not going to win this game. Indiana's going to have to turn it up. You know what I mean? Can Illinois play clean football? Both quarterbacks are pretty good. Both have good coaches. This, to me, if you're both fan bases, you got to be fired up for a game like this.
Listen, this is a big game in the Big Ten.
It is. It really is. I think I'm going to go Indiana here. I don't even want to think about what he just said.
Yeah.
Indiana, I think, but I'm going to take Illinois to cover. I just like the home team in this game, but I think this is going to be a whale of a football game.
listen, both of these schools have a dream of getting to the college football playoff.
You got
And
to
I'm
be
going to tell you,
kidding, Joshua. He said that Oklahoma State is down 19-3 to Tulsa. I ain't saying a word. Bro.
all right, I'm trying not to pay no attention to that because
I
Mike
know.
Gundy, I mean, I don't know. Like he's checked out, is all I can tell you. I mean, he's already, people say, is he going to get fired? He's already checked out, man. I mean, go look. Seriously. He's already checked out.
Yeah.
All right. This game right here is a huge game in the Big Ten. Both of these schools have dreams of college football playoff. Indiana made it last year, surprisingly. Illinois is,
This kind of feels
pushing.
like it's on the other side of the foot this time.
Yeah, Illinois is pushing to get there. Altmaier is playing really well. Like John said, man, they're playing clean football. That's hard to do week after week after
This day
week.
and age, yeah.
It is, man. That's hard to do week after week after week. I listen, I know Indiana's improved. Signetti's a good coach. He's a little cocky. He's a good coach. But here's the deal. I really kind of like the way Brett has this team playing.
I really
And
want to pick Illinois, but I
if
just
you're
kind of
telling
want.
me you're giving me 6.5 points and Illinois, I'm taking it. I say the bet here is to take Illinois.
Oh, Vernon Sports.
I don't think he knows that a hat has a bill, to be honest.
That's my buddy. What's up, Vern?
Yeah, I don't think John knows that a hat has a bill, to be quite honest with you.
I think it does. I'll have it
All
turned
right.
around next week.
Arizona State is at Baylor. And the Sun Devils here, John, on the road in Waco are a 2.5-point favorite.
Arizona State don't. I don't know, man. I'm getting a funny feeling about this Arizona State team. You know, like Sam Levitt, he's not been great. He's hasn't been really consistent.
Is it a
Now
hangover from last year or what?
like they rushed the ball. They rushed the ball pretty well. And then on the other side, you got Sawyer Robinson that for Baylor, he's throwing over, I think, 1,000 yards. I think this game's going to come down to whoever has the ball last. Arizona State is not moving the football. Doesn't make sense, really, because the offense that they got, it was supposed to be really, really good. I mean, even without Scatterbo, the running game is still pretty good. They did good against Mississippi State. They whipped Texas State. It's just throwing the ball downfield, I think, at times with Levitt. It's just – and Baylor is 114th in the country against the run, so maybe a big day is in store here. Maybe they pick up a win. But I actually like Baylor at home at Waco. I think Baylor's got a better team than they showed against Auburn. They proved that against SMU, a couple weeks ago. So
I mean, they had a hell of a comeback against SMU.
they did, and I think I'm going to go Baylor here, Brett.
This is a game listen, I picked Arizona State out of the Big 12 here, and this is a game that they absolutely have to have, especially after already dropping one a game. So, losing that game on the road at Mississippi State hurts. It's not a Big 12 game.
No, but it kind of hurts you when it comes to like wanting the college football playoff, like in a sense.
Because, yeah, I mean you can't already 2 weeks later lose to Baylor. and be 2-2 and make the college football
You
playoff.
you lose you lose this weekend, you're probably not going. More
No,
likely.
I just don't see it. I know technically they could make a 6-7 game run in the Big 12 and still make the Big 12 um, championship game. Technically, yes, I get that. I just don't believe a 2-2 team that loses at Mississippi State and at Baylor is going to make that kind of a run, just to be honest. So give me the Sun Devils here. I'm going to take them, although it's a little bit scary to take them the way they have been playing. And Baylor has looked a ton better than what most people are going to give them credit for
I
over the
actually
last.
think I actually think they have the better quarterback, honestly. Right
I
now.
mean, you may be
Now
right.
last year maybe Levitt is better in terms of production. Had Scatbo and all them back, but I think Sawyer has proved it this year. Even in the Auburn game, I thought he played pretty good.
That's true, man. All right, I do have one bonus game, guys. That was 12 games. We a lot of times do 12 games here for football. I do have one bonus game here, and then there is a few games here that I just wanted to mention real quick. Um, Oregon, Oregon State, Washington State play this weekend. It's kind of a shame what's happened to Washington State and Oregon State
Mhm.
with all the conference stuff and being left out. And because these two games for a lot of years were some great games. And I just want to mention them here tonight, John, um, and just see what you think about the Apple Cup and these have been some good games.
Yeah, I think it's great for college football. The Apple Cup, it's about as good as it gets. The last few years, Washington State stunned Washington in last year,
Yeah, but
and I
these are
think
like 35-point favorites this year in these games, something like that.
in Washington, the year that they went to the college football national championship, they barely won the game. So there's a lot on the line for this kind of game, and you know, um, I think Washington wins this game pretty comfortably. Washington State is not great. They got whipped last week by North Texas, which was kind of surprising, but not surprising in a way because North Texas has actually gotten better the last couple of years. And then you kind of go to Oregon State. You know, I, that's another series that I love about as good as anything. But let's be honest, Brad. Oregon's a what 36-point favorite.
Yeah, something
And I
crazy.
know this sounds awful, but I mean, I just feel like Oregon's going to take them behind the firing squad and just whip them really well. But really,
I
you know what I
mean,
mean? Like,
I'm just saying it's kind of a shame that these two games are not going to be as good as they normally are. I just don't think.
well, the talent disparity and across from each other, Washington's probably got a better team than Washington State, and Oregon's completely got a whole better team than Oregon State just by talent wise. And what Dan Lanning has done at Oregon, the way he coaches, the way he prepares, he might be up there with Kirby Smart as one of the top coaches in college football.
I agree 100%. Listen, I just wanted to bring them two games up because I am hopeful that when the new Pac-12 starts and July 1st of next year, that this new Pac-12 can find some kind of footing in the college football world, and teams like Oregon State and Washington State can recruit and get the players that they have been able to get all these years out of the in the Pac-12. So I just want to say that. All right, the bonus game is this one right here. We've got this is now a Big Ten game. Michigan State is going on the road to Southern Cal, and USC is an 18.5 point favorite at home against the Spartans. John, this is a game the Spartans probably don't see too often.
No. Now there was word that MSU's top rusher and receiver might be out, but I think there's some that believe that they're going to play. I think it was Frazier and Marsh. Childs is really, really good quarterback. I thought he played really well last week. They beat Boston. Was it Boston College? I think.
And this is a late game tomorrow night.
I want to tell you something. This USC has a very, very tough schedule. They play Illinois, Michigan, Notre Dame, and Nebraska. And this is a game you don't want to lose, especially at home.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure, especially on Riley this year. Winning. He's not had some good seasons in USC, to be honest. So this is a game that they need to really win. And Childs has been really good, like I said. MSU has had a lot of problems on the offensive line at times. Their secondary did not play well against Boston College. They allowed 390 yards. USC's got a decent quarterback calling the shots back there. So there's going to be some passes thrown in the middle. He's going to hit some deep balls. So, but I think I'm going to take USC. I do think they cover this spread. But then again, I kind of want to take Michigan State to cover because you just don't know which USC team you're going to get each and every week.
They did not cover last week against Purdue. And I'll be honest with you, I think Michigan State's probably better than Purdue.
Yeah, they're probably 2 times, 3 times better than Purdue.
So
Purdue
that makes me a little scared here to pick USC to cover 18.5 points.
Yeah, a little bit. I question it a little bit.
I mean, but gosh.
Well, you got to think.
This is at home.
They've not really played anybody. They played Missouri State, Georgia Southern, Purdue. I think they had 3 interceptions last week against Purdue. I think they outgained Purdue by 100 yards. They got a really good team, USC, and I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what they do the rest of the season. But like I said, their schedule kind of sets up tough if you kind of drop this one.
I'm going to pick the Trojans here over the Spartans at home. But if they can't cover this game, I mean, they, like you said, they do kind of have a tougher schedule in the Big Ten. So we'll see. This is a late game.
Oh, go ahead.
This is a late game tomorrow night. So you're going to have.
I kind of wanted to bring up something a little bit. There's a few games tomorrow underrated that you might want to take a stab at. North Texas and Army. That'd be a pretty good game. It's at Army, I believe. I think you got who is it else plays? I think Purdue and Notre Dame play tomorrow, which is a rivalry game. It's always pretty tight. Then you got James Madison Liberty play. Trying to think, there was another one. West Virginia and Kansas plays. That's always a decent rivalry there. Trying to think who else plays. Anybody that BYU and East Carolina will be maybe a decent game. And then Texas plays Sam Houston. I'm interested to see what Arch does tomorrow after the last couple of weeks. Like, does he improve his play from the last 2 weeks where he's struggled at times? He's not looked great, to be honest.
No, I agree with you. It's going to be interesting. So I tell you,
I got to do a shout out real quick. I forgot to do a shout out this week. Delaware. They beat UConn last week.
First FBS win.
FBS win, and my buddy is a diehard Delaware fan. He runs a Delaware pod, and I just wanted to shout them out. That was my winners of the week. I forgot to put it in there. I felt like, them coming to if BS that they would struggle a little bit, but right out of the gate, they knock off UConn. So all for me, and they hung with Colorado too. So
They did.
Pretty decent team there.
All right, go to Homefield Apparel, check them out. They got some really cool tailgating gear there. If you're a college football fan, use our code CSCast. They have cool retro mascots, logos, throwback jerseys, coats, jackets, all kinds of stuff. Check them out. Use our code CSCast. Go to the Real Fresh channel. Check out Howie Fresh on his YouTube channel. As well as Stadium Rant. Both of these channels on YouTube has tons and tons of sports shows. Check them out. We are doing a new Wildcat Weekly show this coming Monday night. We're going to have former great Lamont Smith on from Kentucky on with us. The first half hour, he's going to be with us and just kind of talking his career, the beating Alabama in 1997, and all different kinds of things that we're going to talk about with him. Got to give a shout out.
The last player, his team was the last team to actually beat Alabama.
Yeah, Kentucky team,
which was pretty neat.
Yeah. Check out Eric Bird and Bird's Eye View. Appreciate him with all the Kentucky coverage this year. All right. With that said, John, it is time to do our upset pick of the week. Who do you have as your upset pick of the week?
That's a tough one.
Let me go. Slate? You can go out of this slate.
I'm probably going to go. That's tough.
I'll tell you who I'm going to go with in this one. If you're going to say upset, there's two out of this that I think could be mentioned. Nebraska over Michigan could be mentioned. I'm not going to call that an upset, though, because
I think Illinois.
Michigan is favored by 1.5 in this game, even though it's at Lincoln. But because it's at Lincoln, I'm not going to call it an upset. But what I will say is this one. My upset pick of the week is NC State over Duke. It's been 17 years, John said, since they won it in Durham. I think they get it done here. Duke was a 3-point favorite. I say NC State wins over Duke.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at. I picked NC State anyway, so I think I'm just going to go with NC State here. And then my lock of the week, I'm probably going to go Miami over Florida.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good one.
I just don't see Florida competing for 4 quarters with this team. This Miami team is really, really good. Carson Beck is playing at a high level. Their running backs are playing good. Fletcher, they got speed all over the field at wide receiver, running backs, tight ends. Their offensive line is better. Their front four on the defensive side is a lot better. I think Florida's going to have to create some crazy plays, chaos plays to win this game. When I'm saying top hit plays like interceptions, they're going to have to get a fumble to have a chance to win this game, because if Carson Beck does not get any pressure on him, he's going to light this secondary up. And if Florida can't move the football, this could get ugly, folks.
You can't have 5 turnovers, 5 interceptions. I can tell you that.
No.
All right. Just because you picked that one, that's a great pick, by the way. that might have been one that I was thinking about picking. There's two here that I will mention. I think Oklahoma over Auburn at home 7.5
Yeah,
is a
I like
really
that
good
one.
pick as well. But I tell you, I'm gonna take Nebraska over Michigan as my lock of the week. I'm sticking my neck out here on this one. Lincoln over Michigan.
Might get broke on Monday morning.
I'm sticking my neck out here. Listen, Michigan and their defense and what they've done over the last few years
They
deserves
haven't looked great to start the
deserves
year.
all the credit in the world. I just think their defense has not been quite as good, and Nebraska's offense has looked really, really good. It's time for some Cornhusker magic out of Lincoln, Nebraska.
Did you see the recruits that was coming to the uh, Miami game?
No, I did not. I have been swamped busy today and
The
yesterday.
Miami Florida game. Um, there's 4 stars, 5 stars. I think they have the number one receiver, the number two receiver, and one in the next class, the number three receiver, all visiting at the same time.
Cool.
I'm telling you, I told people when he was hired down there,
Yep.
Cristobal, I said he's going to he's going to have a problem down there, and he's already causing it.
Yep. Listen, they had a great season last year and 2 years ago, to be honest with you. They just lost a game down the stretch. I mean, so I mean, he's done really well there. So, and Carson Beck was a fantastic pickup.
Oh, absolutely! Like
Fantastic pickup.
one one of
Yeah.
the one of the top probably transfer portal guys in
I mean,
America. I
him and Mateer right now, I can't think of, just off the top of my head, but a fantastic pickup out of the portal, to be
And
honest. I
some of the commits that are coming to Miami, there's a few that are Georgia, and I think there's one that's a Florida commit. I mean, you got Florida commits. He's in other schools, so
yeah,
hey,
yeah, that's kind of
that's
scary right
that's
there.
part of it in the recruiting world.
When you're a Florida commit and you're going on a Miami visit, so Miami can beat the snot out of the Gators, that probably
Yeah,
don't ring too well.
it don't no, not at all.
Just saying. All right, check out uh, our shows. We had some power conference previews before the season started. You can check them out. Also, our shows, Big Fuss Show, is on Tuesday nights, and Game Day Pick'ems here on Friday nights. And then check out our new show, Wildcat Weekly, on Monday nights. And John, this is always fun. Uh, Doing these shows and having our pick'ems. The last thing I want to mention here on our pick'ems show here is our pick'em challenge. We have a college football pick'em challenge going on with Splash Sports. Want to give a shout out to Jonathan Lane, Colton Summy, and Sora from Stadium Rant. You guys are still undefeated 3 weeks in. And
Yeah,
John and I are
I put mine ahead of time. Like when I do my pick 'em thing,
with that.
I do mine ahead of time so I won't forget.
What's that?
I do a hit mine ahead of time so I don't forget. So are you there, Brad? I think you froze up. Let's see. Yep, he did. Y'all have a good night.